are listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
zure garuna entzuten ari zara zuzenean, programa laster hasiko da, gozatu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I'm your host, Ollie Vogt Larson, and I'm going to put it out there so that everybody just knows it. JFK will always be my favorite president. Second place will always fall to John Adams, I believe. Not a hard decision, quite frankly. JFK, he did more to attempt to combat corruption than any representative and senior member of the Order of Demolay, Thomas Massey, will ever do. Forget getting the files unredacted. Most of the ones that you'd actually care about are shredded or dissolved. It's just a fact. JFK was interested in, forcing AIPAC to register with FARA as a foreign lobbying group. At the time, it was just called the American Jewish Committee. It's a subsidiary of the AJC. Because he knew at the time, this is interesting, he knew that they were, collecting money from Israeli people, Israeli money from across the sea, and then, somewhere beyond the sea, and influencing American politicians. Just 5 months before he was killed, he told the Israeli prime minister he wouldn't allow the nation of Israel to acquire a nuclear bomb. This is important to note. 5 months before he was killed, he demanded that the IAEA run various inspections on them. He warned them, actually, multiple times, the International Atomic Energy Agency, that Israel might be working on something. You need to reevaluate their conditions. Eventually, they stole our technology from us. They stole triggers from South Africa. They got the plans eventually from A.Q. Kwan that he got from Germany. They compiled all their efforts together. They developed their first nuclear weapon. And then this draw line to the nuclear arms race that leads to draw line to 9/11, draw line to the Iraq War, draw line to all the problems that we're having right now. This is not hard to track, you guys. Keep up. The moment that we let his head get blown off in Texas, we let things get off the rails. LBJ single-handedly, maybe top 3 worst presidents of all time. This is like a tough list because that's contending with, admittedly, it's contending with Woodrow Wilson. It's up there with, I know people like to go, Teapot Dome scandal. What's it called? Warren G. Harding was the worst president of all time. Listen, when it comes to getting your buddies involved in the cabinet and whatnot, people calling Warren G. Harding the worst president of all time are like the people who say Donald Trump is the worst president of all time. He may be eventually by the end of his term, depending on what state the world is in. I have no way to determine it, but I'm determining it based off of his first term alone. That's the only thing that we have for right now. Anyways, I guess that we have the beginning of his second term, but anyways, it is comparing that level of corruption. It's like Warren G. Harding's the worst. No. It's whatever. You're talking about someone who showed the birth of a nation at the White House and said this is a great analog for history that we need to be teaching children, quite frankly. If you're not aware of the birth of a nation, it is the formula, it is a, what's it called? It's a dramatized version of a dramatization, you know what I mean? It was like a Steven Spielberg recreation of the Battle of Normandy, except it was about the birth of the KKK, and he displayed it. And he was like, "This is a great thing. We should get a bunch of people in a theater at the White House for this." The only highlight that you can give the entire presidency of LBJ is the Civil Rights Act, which would have passed under JFK. Don't even try to give me like, "Oh, it's revisionist history." You could never say that. If he would have lived to see it happen, it would have passed under him. Otherwise, every other act under LBJ was a failing. We went to wars unnecessarily. We faked an attack, Gulf of Tonkin, under him just so we could justify going to war with Vietnam. This is ridiculous. This is what I mean. You can give him a great society plan. People will go like, oh, the welfare state. You gotta give him credit for the welfare state. I am giving him credit for the welfare state. That is exactly why he ranks in bottom 3 presidents of all time. We've spent, this is rough estimates, you know what I mean, $240 billion since the creation of it to fight poverty. We've actually increased the poverty rate since then, in case you're curious. We've increased the single motherhood rate, the fatherless homes rates, because guess what, guys? When you pay people to behave like deadbeat dads and horny non-committal mothers, you tend to get a lot more deadbeat dads and horny non-committal mothers. Strange how that works, right? It's like when you pay for homeless people to be on the streets via outreach programs, food programs, without asking them to do the bare necessity, like go to a shelter, get a job. You tend to get a lot of vagrants. They'll show up, they'll grab what they can for the day, and then waltz off into the night to go sleep under a bridge. Literally under a bridge, like a troll is how you find these people. I'm not lying. This is true. People go, Ollie, are you condemning the homeless? Are you condemning deadbeat dads and horny non-committal mothers? Actually, I kind of am a little bit. I love this this attitude that society adopted, maybe 1990s onward. It was around the time of participation trophies, where it was like, hey guys, who are you to judge? Like, I grew up all the time hearing this from teachers, parents, literally people's other kids' parents would tell them to this in front of us, and they'd be like, guys, who are you to judge? It was this weird thing that a lot of millennials, Gen X, they picked up for some reason, because I think it was in opposition to the boomer attitude of very, hey, there's a proper way to live life. You know what I mean? There is, go do these sorts of things. You should abide by certain rules and whatnot. And Gen X didn't like this. It was the Breakfast Club generation. It was the, man, fucking, we just watched Nightmare on Elm Street. We're wearing our jeans. We're like hanging out. We're listening to vinyls and shit. We were born in 1980, man. We got vaccines at birth, man. Things are great, man, and then the economy is going to be great when we're teenagers, man. That was the attitude. That was the entire fun. That was literally the beat of the 90s, if you don't know. And then they acquired the attitude because of their overly, let's be real, critical parents. It was the boomer generation that made them this way. I'm not blaming them. This is important. Every generation is explainable when you go back to their parents. So in response to the overly critical boomers, the Gen X got this attitude of, guys, we got to remember that who are we to judge? Because we don't know every person's situation. And I grew up hearing this from my entire life. And I go, I'm actually someone, people go, Ollie, don't you remember people's lives? Who are you to judge? And I go, I'm actually someone who doesn't make choices that ruin my own life. That's who I am. I'm someone who wouldn't behave slovenly or, whorish, man-whorish, and to get myself into sad situations like with 8 kids living in a trailer park. Here is something that everyone should learn and listen to. I think a big car is going by because they know I'm making a great point and they want to distract from it. I want everyone to think about this as I'm about to finish up this intro. If you live your life decently, like if you're a decent person, you live well, you take good care of your kids, you take good care of your family, your spouse, you try to be as good and as positive to the world around you as you can be, whatever you are. You're not a maniac, you know what I mean? You're not a criminal. You're not a paganistic effigy burner, you know what I mean? You're not doing rituals out in the woods. You actually go and do the right thing. I would say you do have the right to judge, to make calls on people, and to say what you think, quite frankly. And people will give you the response of like, man, you don't know that person's life, and maybe it was socioeconomic factors that made that person tear up a Kroger's grocery storefront. That the socioeconomic factor. They got a starving baby at home, so they gotta grab that cake out of a freezer at Dairy Queen and throw it on the ground because they're angry that their card won't go through. So they're using the Pythagorean theorem. This scholar is using the Pythagorean theorem of energy plus rage equals slope plus throw this equals get my money back. I love this. This is brilliance. This is a beautiful mind. This is just my honest opinion, folks. It's if people don't like it, if they think it's rude, more often than not, it's because the people who sit in the mud and the filth, they rarely like it when you call them dirty, muddy, filthy people. That's just unfortunate. People who behave in unfortunate ways, people who behave in, let's say it, immoral ways, they don't like it when you call it what it is, immoral. It's like, hey, what are you doing? I've had this happen before, unfortunately. It's like, you talk to somebody and it's like, hey, you're out again. And they're like, yeah, my fucking kids, they were loud, you know what I mean? So I just had to come back out here. I had to get some air and whatnot. And you hear the kids inside. It's literally an apartment building, and you hear the kids inside crying. The mom's just like hectic, and you're like, Jesus, like, do I need to call somebody? This is a dangerous situation. You are allowed to call out. You're allowed to make a little note in the back of your head. You're even allowed, if you're really that worried, to call the police on some people, because that's just how it works in this world. If you know that you live a bit of a straighter arrow than some folks, they're not going to like you just because of that, folks. That's an unfortunate way of this world. It's an unfortunate way. Once you start living the right way, I've noticed that a lot of people who live wrong or have wrong mentalities really don't like the right way. They don't like the correct way, which is okay. That's God blessed be upon them. You know what I mean? Muhammad will find them one day. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that we've had a long enough intro. It's 10 minutes. What are we doing? I'm sorry I'm wasting your time. I'm just dilly-dallying when we have news to get to. We have Bill Clinton's testimony, because we focused on Hillary last episode, and I caught up a bit on Bill's testimony. So let's just break right into it. Why don't we go? Former President Bill Clinton. We got a over 6 hour testimony. A lot of the clips I'm seeing on this is like 4 hours, so I've seen, I think, the majority of the footage broken up into pieces. This lawyer, very interestingly enough, the woman pictured to the right of every one of the Clintons, Bill and Hillary, this brown woman, you see her in the corner of all of these videos. I'm going to reveal something very interesting about her. She is actually mentioned in the Epstein files. Interestingly enough, we'll read her file that she actually is mentioned in. But in the meantime, here is Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton. We're going to start this off with a clip on what he would like to say to survivors directly.
And in particular, I want to focus on 3 survivors who have shared stories that involve you. So I want to begin with Maria Farmer. Do you know who Maria Farmer is? Maria Farmer was employed by Jeffrey Epstein and abused by him for a number of years. And she first reported her abuse to the New York PD and FBI in 1996. And she states that she has personal knowledge that you visited Jeffrey Epstein's house 3 to 4 times while you were the sitting president between 1995 and 1996. And she says she knows this based on photographs that Ghislaine Maxwell showed to her, as well as discussions with the staff. So let me ask you, Mr. President, did you visit Jeffrey Epstein's house while you were president?
I do not remember doing that. I do not believe I did.
I do not believe.
How do you explain this discrepancy?
Objection calls for him to speculate.
I can't speculate. But all I can tell you is I don't remember being there.
Okay. Moving on to Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Are you familiar with her? Mm-hmm. As has already been established, she has stated in numerous sworn statements, including a sworn deposition in the Maxwell trial, that she saw you on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, this morning, her family shared her diary with me. And in it is a quote wherein she writes, quote, Bill Clinton met 2 times island with 2 girls, CTGM and JE. What is your reaction to that?
It's not true.
It's not true. It's just not true.
Any dates associated with that? Were there dates on the diary?
I don't have that information, but we'll be happy to share it with you.
Well, terrific, because I think there are also records that would reflect where else he would have been. So thanks.
Did she say that in her book?
This is from her personal diary that her family shared with us.
Yes, but the book came out more recently. Did she say that in the book?
I'm just reading you the entry from her diary that her family shared with me.
He really wants to know. He's like, did she write that? Did she? I'm going to be really honest with you guys. This testimony doesn't have nearly as much aura, fighting spirit as Hillary's. He's, like I said in the last episode, he has the spirit of someone 20 years her senior. You know, she's still fighty, bitey, you know, old lady. She's like, I'll point at you, I'll smack on the table and all that shit. But he is, you know, much more, he's sitting within himself. He looks like a skeleton just kind of holding its arms together. It's creepy. It's decrepit. I don't like it. Anyways, Cheryl Mills is interrupting on his behalf.
I think so.
Their lawyer. I finally figured out her name, Cheryl Mills, the black lady that I've been like, this brown girl, this lawyer that's really good at fighting for them. Cheryl Mills, she's in the files. We'll mention this later.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that it's on the record that is Virginia Giuffre's statement. Did you ever fly in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Maxine.
Ever, anywhere?
Ever, anywhere?
Okay. Well, at least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to the island.
Did you ever?
Ben, I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
I did never. I did never. Apparently. He did never, guys. He did never. We got another moment about the infamous hot tub photo. Listen, guys, I hate to be the one that reveals it. It was me. It was me that they redacted in the hot tub with Bill Clinton. I wanted some early opportunities. Admittedly, I think this photo was taken in 2005, making me approximately 2 years old. You know, it fits. It fits with the narrative. So we're gonna go ahead and say that. We're gonna go ahead and say it.
Thank you for your service. We have, as you know, in the files that were released, there were several photos, included you, and we have an exhibit here. That's just one of the photos. And,
We pulled this from Ollie Vogt Larson's Instagram.
And we'll have that passed around. And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have. And if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture.
Can anybody else not understand a single word that he is mumbling? He's muffling. I can't. It's not even mumbling or muffling. I can't even say what it is.
But anyway,
But
picture was taken in Brunei,
Brunei.
and we flew one night on a trip to Asia.
Ooh, looks like a dump.
Very long leg.
I just looked up pictures.
Who is that including?
Well, my TEL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and
Yeah, I just looked up pictures. It looks like a dump. What would he want to do here?
Mr. Epstein
Have sex with children.
was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that...
I was actually there to study the culture, the rich culture of Brunei. It's beautiful brown beaches. It's beautiful garbage mountains, as we've actually... they're as tall as the Himalayas.
I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president, and his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended, and then he was very proud of that, and he hosted. His time came to host it. You do these things in rotation, and it came either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
He went to bed exhausted after using the pool, because who's exhausted after using a pool, excuse you? Pools demand so little of you, physically, mentally, all of it. I've always been elated by the fact that there are people who die in pools, like they fall asleep in the pool. To me, that's always been as dumb as somebody who like falls asleep smoking. You always heard that I was of a generation where nobody had died of it in a few years. I think that was a big thing in like 60s, 70s. Like, yeah, someone fell asleep with a fucking cigarette and then their apartment it burned and they were the only person who died. And then you saw, if you were younger, or even older, you remember that guy from Beetlejuice who's like, want a cigarette? That was like just an old wives' tale by the time that I was a kid. My point still remains that it's like one of those things where you're like, people fall asleep when they're in a pool? Sounds ridiculous to me, but people do.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this...
Yes, it's noted. Yes.
She's like, by the way, she does this weird like lip pursing in movement that makes her look like she doesn't have any teeth. And listen, not to say that her partner on Bill's left, this Shadow of Innsmouth looking fella, the fish person with this, quiffed hair, not queefed, this quiffed hair, his like obvious like lines running down his face. He looks like a carp left out at market. He looks decrepit, but she looks like a Skyrim NPC. She looks like a witch that is arising from a tomb in like a cave in a mountain somewhere. She looks like she's gonna have 50 gold coin and like some glowing, like big axe or something like that. When you kill her and she goes limp, you know what I mean? Because they never die and it never looks that cool, except for, they do the slow motion kill where like you'll grab the person and then you'll slam them into your knee and then like whatever and then it'll fall down and then they still look silly. It doesn't look cool at all. But she'll have like one of these like cool like spells, maybe a book or something. I don't know. I don't play Skyrim very much, but that's what she looks like. She looks like this mummified witch, which is just, I love her. We'll mention more about her soon.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure.
She like, okay, and she like does this side, we got you. Like she looks like someone who's watched too much Glee. Someone who's had like too much attitude. I bust the windows out your car. I don't like those people.
So were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub.
Well, you didn't have the other photo, so how is he supposed to remember if there were any other people?
I didn't survive
Bitch.
until there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about...
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who
He's
that
also
is.
asking in the pool area whether other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know.
She is like, guys, we have to make this so obvious and so clear to him because he's barely hanging on. You have to understand, he might be however many years old, might be in his 80s or something, but we are dealing with a mental 110-year-old. He has lived more lives of more sex and more young 22-year-olds and even younger. We're not going to talk about just Monica Lewinsky. Let's just move on. He has lived more lives. He's had more adrenochrome than you will ever have in your short, brief existence on this planet. He has lived 600 years. He has been president of the United States. So, if anything, we need to be giving him visual aids. We need to be... Actually, if you guys could just put all of these questions in a Cocomelon-style children's show that he can do a call and response to. Maybe a Dora-type special where a person like does a thing and is like, Bill... tell us if you did this, and then he does a call or response, and then you do like a yay, and then that's how we're gonna do this. That you have to get juvenile, you have to get really like infantile with these references because people really start to go, they really start to leave their minds at past like I'm not going to say how old he is. I think he's like, how old is Bill Clinton? Let's actually confirm. Bill, I don't want to be rude and get his age wrong. He's 79 years old. Oh, he does not give that. Listen, yeah, he looks old, like really, really, like 90-something. It's concerning. Anyways, we're going to cover this brief clip from a gentleman who I will leave in the description, who's going to break down a brief instance from the Hillary Clinton deposition, and then they are going to break down a brief summation of something that we know about their beautiful brown lawyer that I keep mentioning. She's just beautiful and brown. I can't help it but mention her. She's just beautiful.
Clinton was being asked about Frazzled.rip. That video came from a life insurance folder from Anthony Weiner's laptop. That video was said to make even the most hardened NYC police veterans cry. It's said to show Weiner's wife, Huma, and Hillary Clinton performing satanic ritual abuse on a young girl, surgically removing her face and wearing it as a mask
Cool.
to flood the victim's bloodstream with adrenaline.
Damn.
On a serious note, Of the 12 officers who viewed the contents of the file labeled insurance on the laptop, 9 of them committed suicide.
That is weird, isn't it? Isn't that just bizarre? Can we not admit that that is admittedly just bizarre?
Let's play the video of her being asked about Frazzled.rip.
The files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled Frazzled.
This is way outside the scope.
Ruling.
This is way outside the scope.
This is way outside the scope.
The chairman rules that it's not within the scope.
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
He goes, this is way outside the scope. It has a lot to do with child abuse, actually. The description of this video is you wearing this little girl's face. So I think this is perfectly within scope. And the level of uncomfortability she displays around this, I'm sorry, it's just an innocent woman doesn't look this weirded out when she's being accused of something supposedly so ridiculous that she can't even imagine you would bring it up.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
Yes.
Now, the lady you see next to Hillary, her attorney, Cheryl Mills, she is in the files.
Yes, she
and
is.
She's close friends with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep.
This is Cheryl Mills to Ghislaine Maxwell. Gee, is today really your birthday? It's the birthday of one of my greatest friends, and it would not at all be surprising that you shared it. So happy birthday, darling. I'll have to do a bit of thinking. Hate you for being in Palm Beach. If it weren't for your birthday, I'll call you what you really are for being there. XO.
There you go. What a weird friendship. You wouldn't expect her being so close to the Clintons to like have any ties to Ghislaine or Epstein, right? The Clintons are clean figures. They're not any types that would get involved in anything that might suggest any wrongdoing. Speaking of wrongdoing, actually, maybe not wrongdoing because I am interested in buying this home. The Zorro Ranch inside Jeffrey Epstein's potential birth mansion. We have new photos that reveal what the inside looked like. I will put these in the description if you'd like to take a look. I'll do my best to describe some. Here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch in our state through some new photos. Epstein and his estate owned the Santa Fe County property until 2023.
A beautiful purple main home, it looks like, and then it transitions to this amazing rustic Lincoln-style cabin. This is beautiful with this. Oh my goodness, this brown brick, very, very Celtic. Like the bricks are all different sizes. It's not Germanic. It's not uniform. It is not industrial. It is handcrafted. It is artesian. It's Celtic. It is a beautiful. Oh my goodness. And then the way that these shingles have been laid, I gotta say it, guys, I'm in love with this house.
That's when former Texas State Senator Donald Huffines bought it. Now this
gorgeous Spanish-Mexican revival interior, you guys, if you are fans of the, Spanish-Mex, that mix of, you like palatial estates, you like bronze, copper, you like all of the proper out-of-the-ground materials. You will love this kitchen.
photos of the property are from an insurance company, and they were taken when Epstein...
My favorite room, the study. You have these lovely, these gallant, absolutely just like gaudy bookshelves that are in the wall, inside of the wall. They're not like these shake them up, you know what I mean? You could take them, you could like move them around bookshelves. These are embedded in the wall. These are beautiful. They're in that ghoulish, spooky painting that sits behind this grand, massive, looks like a horse trader's desk. You know what I mean? Like, you look like you sell and breed horses behind this desk. It is a beautiful, beautiful study.
Epstein was still alive. And you can see just how big the property is. Multiple offices, cabins, barns, buildings. I mean, look at the large...
And then this interior, very 2000s, very early 90s. Actually, yeah, I'm going to call this early to late 90s. Let's just call it the 90s. It's got this pink background of like very reminiscent of the late cocaine 80s. But then this beautiful blue, pool that is just, it fills up the entire room. It's gorgeous. I think this is grand.
Then you have a great room right there with that huge chandelier.
Oh my goodness. It looks like a French painting up here. It's
At the time,
beautiful.
there was also a fire truck, tanker, and trailer on the property, as well as a firehouse and storage facility.
He was a man of history.
Meanwhile, there is a growing memorial on the property's outskirts paying tribute to Epstein's victims and survivors.
I can't imagine what they had to endure. I wanted everybody to know that New Mexico was strong and that we would represent these victims, living victims.
I mean, we wouldn't do anything when we were hearing screams in the middle of the night. And we feel really torn up about the fact that, you know, we didn't do very much when we kept seeing girls disappear from, like, oh, what happened to Susie last night? Oh, she went out drinking, and then after she went out at the Panaswacky bar with a couple of her girls, she wasn't seen for the rest of the night. And then people go like, all right. And then I heard screams down at Zorro Ranch the other night. Well, you know, people be yelling. That's what the excuse was. People be yelling.
Survivors.
Organizers say they hope the memorial will serve as a wake-up call. No charges, though, were ever filed against Epstein here in New Mexico. However, state leaders just established a truth commission to further investigate what happened at that property.
Well, because it's only alleged what he's done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only alleged. You know what I mean? We cannot prove distinctly that he's done anything malicious. Apparently so. This is exactly why we haven't arrested anybody. Because even though they are having a lot of arrests, you know, arrests that aren't admittedly not leading to anything, like Mountbatten, you know what over in the UK. The Norway, they're arresting a few people. In Europe, they're having a couple arrests, but they're not going to lead to any genuine prosecutions. But at the very least, we don't have the decency to even put on the show of an arrest in the United States at this point anymore. But whatever. That's very fun. Very, very fun. Doesn't really matter at this point. I think we need to move on, quite frankly. I've had enough of the Clintons. I've had enough of this session. I've had enough of it. I'm done for now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our second story. I hope that you enjoyed the first one. The second one involves a United States submarine. Very fun. Let's begin. Go. U.S. submarine uses torpedo to sink Iranian ship. Israel strikes Lebanon after Hezbollah launches missiles towards Israel, and more as the war continues. We are deep in it, guys, and I am excited. I'm not on the ground, as in, like, there are no bombs in my backyard yet, thankfully enough, but once it becomes an on-the-ground reporting thing, I would love to claim that title. The global conflict is evolving. Operation Epic Fury, it's expanding into international waters. In morning briefings at the Pentagon, United States of Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, confirmed that the American submarine utilized a single torpedo to sink the Iris Dena, one of Iran's newest, most advanced frigates. The vessel was reportedly sunk in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Sri Lanka while returning from a naval renew in India. Very fun. Hegseth described the strike as a quiet death, marking the first time that the U.S. submarine has sunk an enemy combatant with a torpedo since the end of World War II. The human toll of the maritime strike is significant. Sri Lankan naval and air forces have launched an immediate search and rescue mission after receiving a distress call from the sinking ship, which was carrying an estimated 180 crew members. At least 87 bodies have been recovered from the water so far. Damn, we're going hard. And with 32 survivors rescued and transported to hospitals in the southern city of Galilee. Over 60 sailors remain missing. In case you hear tornado sirens in the background, it's because it's Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month. Don't make me explain it. Over 60 sailors remain missing, with an oil slick remaining at the site of an explosion. Hopes for finding more survivors are rapidly fading. Not fun. Let's get this clip playing, why don't we, from 6 ABC Philadelphia. To drown out these damn sirens.
Developments in the war in Iran. The Pentagon held an update a short time ago as both sides continue to exchange strikes.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth revealed that a torpedo from a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship in international waters in the Indian Ocean yesterday. He showed this video of the moment the strike happened.
An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death.
Quiet
The
death.
first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II.
Hegseth says that America is winning the war and strikes will not let up as Iran ramps up its retaliatory strikes on U.S. bases, embassies, and consulates. He also said the U.S. has achieved dominance over the skies of Iran. Meanwhile, Israel has also been launching strikes on Tehran overnight. ABC's Ian Pannell has the latest from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Overnight, Israel launching massive strikes in Tehran, targeting dozens of Iranian command centers and missile launchers. And this morning, we're learning more about the American service members killed in that Iranian strike on a U.S. tactical operations center in Kuwait Sunday. The Pentagon identifying 4 of them as 35-year-old Captain Cody A. Cork, 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah L. Tijens, 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicole M. Amor, and Sergeant Declan J. Cody, just 20 years old. His family saying in a statement, he was just a baby, adding, he was so kind and so amazing. Iran ramping up its retaliatory strikes. The U.S. military base in Baghdad, Camp Victory, reportedly sustaining damage. And now U.S. embassies and consulates in the region in the crosshairs. Verified video showing an Iranian drone plunging into the U.S. consulate in Dubai, exploding in a parking lot nearby. Overnight, hundreds of residents in Najaf, Iraq, holding a symbolic funeral for Iran-slain leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Israel expanding a broad new wave of strikes on Iran's infrastructure overnight, and further into the war's new second front in Lebanon, targeting the Iranian-backed proxy Hezbollah.
Ian Pannell, ABC News.
We continue to watch the impact the war in Iran is having on Wall Street. Here is a live look right now at the big board. Stocks took a nosedive after the initial attacks, but so far this morning they appear to be moderating. The Dow Jones, as you can see, is up. The Nasdaq and S&P are up a little bit as well. This after the Trump administration has promised to take some measures to keep the flow of oil moving through the Persian Gulf. However, gas prices are up again overnight. According to AAA, the average cost of a gallon of gas in Philadelphia and the surrounding Pennsylvania counties is $3.18 today.
Yikes.
Up 7 cents from yesterday and 16 cents.
Up 7 cents. Oh. Israel struck Lebanon. Very fun. And the conflict igniting on the second front along the Israeli-Lebanon border. Late last night, Hezbollah launched a barrage of missiles and drones toward northern Israel, citing retaliation for the weekend's killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. People just love Ali so much. We love it. The Israeli military responded with a massive wave of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah strongholds in southern Lebanon and the suburbs of Beirut. Lebanese health officials report at least 31 people have been killed in these airstrikes, while the IDF claims to have eliminated several senior Hezbollah commanders. Very, very, very fun. Let's look at these clips coming out.
Israel has been striking villages and towns across Lebanon since the early morning hours, widening the ongoing war with Iran to the broader Middle East region. Now, the strikes on Lebanon come after the Hezbollah militant group claimed responsibility for a rocket attack on northern Israel late Saturday, following the death of Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The health ministry in Lebanon says at least 52 people have died in the subsequent strikes across the country, pounding buildings in the Beirut southern suburbs and villages across eastern and southern Lebanon. Israel says that it's targeting senior Hezbollah officials, over 70 rocket launching installations and pads and warehouses, as well as branches of Hezbollah's financial arm. Some 30,000 Lebanese have been displaced from over 50 villages and towns, which the Israelis ordered evacuation from this small country, and it is unclear to what extent this conflict will continue. Hezbollah and Israel's last war ended in late 2024, where Hezbollah's military capabilities were broadly damaged, and a long string of their senior leaders have been killed in airstrikes. Now, the Lebanese government has vowed to disarm Hezbollah since taking power in early 2025. They have condemned Hezbollah's rocket attack, calling it illegal and a threat to the country's national security.
Damn. Well, there you go, folks. It's going to continue to escalate. Geopolitical consequences are rippling across the region and the world. The Lebanese government have taken an unprecedented step of condemning Hezbollah's unauthorized strikes, even as thousands of civilians are fleeing towards the center of Beirut to escape the bombardment, with President Trump warning that these military operations could last another month. The focus is now shifting on whether or not the Iranian military can maintain its cohesion, or if the decapitation of its leadership will lead to a total collapse of the regime's influence in the Middle East. That's my assumption. That's my assumption of what may end up occurring here, quite frankly. We have not only decapitated the leadership of Iran, we have decapitated the only legitimate thing that was standing in the way. I'm not a big, I give the Muslims a hard time on this show, just like I give everybody a hard time on this show. You won't catch me going, we need more Ayatollahs, not just in Iran. We need Ayatollahs in Turkey, all the way to the UK. We need Ayatollah Pierce Morgan. But listen, I am trying to say that we needed them to keep the Israelis in check. They were perfect. They balanced out the regional conflict, because now we have Iraq, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Egypt. All of these countries are willing to tolerate airstrikes from Israel. The only country that wasn't willing to tolerate it, the only country that wasn't willing to take airstrikes, willing to take Israel's bullshit, was Iran. And now that power is beginning to fall, greater Israel is going to take shape. The greater Middle East, the superpower of the Middle East, Israel, will be formulated, and we will have laid the groundwork for that. And not many people are ready for that. Not many people are eager for that, but that is the case. Very fun, right? I don't like being a Mama OD style future teller. I don't like that. It's not my favorite thing, but it's who I am. It's who I was born to be, ladies and gentlemen. I take after my ancient Bruja ancestry. I will always be a fortune teller. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I might die young like Bob Marley. I hope not. I'm not claiming that, but he didn't live very long. 36? Was it 30? Yes, 36 he was. He was born in 1945, died in 81. And he said that it was like Jesus only lived till 36. That's why I'm going to die at 36. I'm not saying I'm going to die at 36. I'm not claiming that. But if this is like eerie audio on Instagram in a few years after my assassination at 36, that'd be pretty nutty, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be just eerie if people discovered this prediction on episode 1111? Not 1111, 111. Oh, I might be predicting something creepy. I hope I don't. I'm not claiming that. Christ is king, ladies and gentlemen. Christ is king. The rapid fire section of today's headlines actually is what we need to address right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's taking up our time. Folks, if you don't know how the rapid fire section of today's headlines go, we run through the most essential stuff that I can't dedicate 3 to 5 paragraphs to, and then you need to know about them. Keep your media diet healthy. Bang, 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 let's do it. Texas 2026 Senate primary results in the U.S. Democratic primaries have ended for the Texas Senate seat, and the state legislature, James Tallarico emerged as the nominee, while other races, particularly Republican contests, were headed to the runoffs. Very curious. These results are setting early tones for 2026 midterms, with implications for Senate control and intra-party dynamics for both major parties. The Republicans are struggling to decide whether or not they want to be a nationalism party or if they want to be a Christian nationalism party. We don't know. Let's figure it out. China's National People's Congress and the 5-year plan. China's National People's Congress convened in Beijing. Very curious, where leaders were expected to unveil a new 5-year economic plan and a strategic blueprint. The plan is likely to emphasize growth targets, technological self-reliance, and security priorities set against a backdrop of global uncertainties, including tensions over the Middle East. Nepal's also got general elections that are landmark. Nepal is holding pivotal general elections, the first since the massive youth-led protests toppling the previous government. Young voters and new political groupings are already reshaping the contest, challenging long-standing parties and potentially altering the country's political landscape after years of instability. Very, very fun. Good for them. Let's cover this. Autism Center fraud suspect pleads guilty to $6 million in the scheme. Abdeen Abdinajib Yusuf was just 22 with no college degree when he opened his autism center in St. Cloud and started billing taxpayers.
Also today, a guilty plea in federal court connected to a multi-million-dollar autism fraud scheme in Minnesota. The defendant accused of paying kickbacks to recruit...
And guys, it's not my fault if he belongs to any particular race. Listen, stop it. Why do you guys get mad at me for the facts? Listen, if they happen to be of an African or Somali descent, and that just adds to the 89 percentile of the crime report that has been happening as of late in these fraud cases, what am I supposed to do except tell you the facts?
Children, fake diagnoses, and bilking the Medicaid system. It is a case Lou Raguse first broke in September. He joins us with details from the newsroom. Lou?
Julie, this was a $6 million scheme run by a man who was just 22 years old when he opened this supposed autism clinic,
I should
Star
try
Autism
this.
Center in St. Cloud. Abdinajib Yusuf admitted that his
Abdinajib
so-called,
Yusuf.
he called them investors brought in unqualified staff, family members as young as 18 to do medical services, and then they recruited children from Somali families to receive services in return.
Oh my god, I love this. I love this. I love that I'm going to get the racism flack for the facts. The facts are, folks, that unfortunately certain communities have certain fellas that like to engage in certain behaviors. And when they show up disproportionately, 89% of the crimes committers are belonging to a certain group. What am I supposed to do? You guys want me to report false facts? You guys want me to go, nope, guys. Whatever you're hearing on the news, it's not particularly one group. Actually, it's actually everybody. Actually, white people. Actually, the lady who ran Feeding Our Future, the $2.5 million scam, was white. So you cannot say that any black people are disproportionately blah, blah, blah. These people don't understand per capita. These people don't understand core principles of statistics. So they just get confronted with numbers that are unfortunate. You look at them and you don't want them to be true, but they are. And then they instead of confronting themselves or what they may think, instead of confronting what might actually be the truth, they instead turn in on things that they've held on to since childhood. Well, no. I've been told ever since I was a child that everybody actually acts the same, and everybody actually, when you get down to it, all has the same morals. Everybody just wants their kids to go to school. Well, actually, not everybody wants their daughters to go to school, but like everybody just wants their kids to be free and like be able to play in the streets. Well, not actually their daughters, but like whatever. Like every culture is the same. Like everybody thinks the same, and everybody's like, no, facts aren't real. Facts aren't real. No. This is like they crumble. They literally crumble when you confront them with any amount of facts, and it's unfortunate because globalism has been a value that they've been taught to uphold since the Reagan administration. It's something that's been baked into these kids ever since they've been going to school. You know what I mean? This unfortunate lie of everybody believing the same thing. It's like everybody when they were kids saw, "We are the world, we are the children," and then they saw that video and thought it was true. They saw that video and they saw Michael Jackson. This is the Michael Jackson generation. It's the generation that like heard growing up listening to, it don't matter if you're black or white. We all think the same and nobody thinks differently than you and everybody wants gays to get married. Whoo! That's what these people grew up on. And it's a bunch of bullshit. And they cannot confront it. They cannot confront that some cultures might normalize rape. They cannot confront that certain cultures might normalize the fact that women are second-class citizens. They can't confront facts of reality. They can't. It's okay.
Kickbacks, which were also paid with taxpayer money. Many of the kids didn't even have autism, but Yusuf admits they fraudulently got those diagnoses. After 4 years, Star Autism Center had racked up $6 million in reimbursements. Yusuf sent $200,000 to Kenya and spent $100,000 on a Freightliner semi.
He was feeding them kids in Kenya. That's what the Michael Jackson generation would say. They'd hear it and they'd go, I was born between 1965 and 1990. And I actually grew up, and I actually think that they were sending that money to help kids with AIDS in Africa. Hey! That's what they would give you. That's the response they would give you. Well, actually, we need to teach kids how to read in those countries. Hey!
He did not say how much of the $6 million he kept for himself.
Love it.
Now, Yusuf is only the second suspect charged in what is believed to be a wide-ranging fraud scheme among autism centers. Both of these suspects have now pleaded guilty. In court today, though, prosecutors said that they plan to indict Yusuf's so-called investors who were involved with him on this scheme. He'll face about 5 years in prison when he eventually is sentenced. Julie.
Should be 50.
One of the most frustrating things, and there's so many, about these cases is it's $6 million, and all we know he has to show for it is maybe a $100,000 semi. Yep. Do we know if there's any ability to claw some of this back?
That's right. It's too early to say in this particular case.
It's all in Bitcoin. It's all in Bitcoin, or so. It's all overseas. And you know what'll happen is people will hear this additional fraud case that gets thrown onto the pile where, oh, it's $6 million, but we caught him. So, like, shut up. We've known about the fraud. We've known about the fraud for 10 years. Shut up. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it like it's new. We're not talking about it like it's new. We're talking about it like we need to do something about it. But these people, they cannot handle that Minnesota is a dramatically mismanaged state. They can't handle the facts. They can't handle that certain communities like to engage in it more than others. They can't handle any of it. And quite frankly, these people are more lost in the delusion of globalism, more lost in the delusion of everybody believing and thinking the same way that they do. You're never going to be able to claw them back to reality. That's just a fact, and it's a sad fact that we've lost so many of these people to a land where not much makes sense. Literally a land like Alice in Wonderland, where things are turned on their head. Things are upside down. The rabbit is always late for tea. You know, things are weird in this world where things just, they don't make sense, and they never will. That's just a fact. Just like how Nancy Mace and Tim Walz had a vicious clash. She asks him, what is a woman? What? Tim, don't bungle this question, please. Don't make us look bad. This is all I ask of you, Tim.
Mr. Chairman, and good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison, you have presided over one of the worst government fraud scandals in American history.
True.
This was money intended to feed hungry children, help kids with autism, provide food and shelter and health care to the needy, and more. You both allowed billions in these American taxpayer dollars to be pillaged and plundered by Somali pirates. You knew this was happening. You chose to do nothing about it, and in some cases, you even enabled it.
Hell yes.
Attorney General Ellison, you even profited from this fraud by taking campaign donations from these Somalians after pledging to help quash the investigation into them. I find your behavior despicable.
Hell yes. Despicable me. Guys, this is iconic. And if you don't think that Keith Ellison, that crook, who, by the way, worked with the Ballas, literally worked with the Bloods and worked with gangs of South Minneapolis in the early 90s. Look it up. It's not that hard to find his criminal connections. And if you want to talk about the communist sympathizer, literally has taken so many trips to China, did as an early man, collected the Little Red Book, gave it to all of his students, said, this is actually really important. You guys should read this. If you don't know anything about Tim Walz's history in China, you don't know about his connection to the Communist Party, it's bizarre. If you don't know anything about Keith Ellison, if you don't understand why these men deserve this public tongue lashing, what are you doing? Do you even know anything about politics, or are you just like in it because you're an adult and you're told that you're supposed to be in it? Because if so, stop pretending that you know anything. We'd rather that you just watch something else. We'd rather that you honestly just go tune in to like NFL, NBA, something that you can actually comment on, something that you will be like, well, here's how General Bingus Dingus, he lined up at the 45th line, and then Bingus. talk about them, talk about your coaches, talk about all of those sorts of things that you may actually... There's a lot of people who they know genuinely more about the sports world. They'll be able to tell you about, like, this is how so-and-so's career went through here, and they really had a trouble with pills, but then they really riled it back up in the early 90s. They know more about the history of sports, the deep, like, dramas, all of that sort of stuff, than they know about their own country and their own government. It's fine. And then they will laugh at you like you're dumb for knowing things. And you just get to look at them and you get to go, they're goys, they're good goys, and it's unfortunate that no one ever woke them up, because... Now, what's it called? They're literally 80 years old. They're literally 80 years old. And they're dying on the couch watching Fox News, watching MSNBC, watching Rachel Maddow or Bill O'Reilly, whoever, channel whatever version of the country they want to hear into their head like a wizard. You know what I mean? It's whatever. Those are the people. Those are the people that don't understand why Trump doesn't need... They're like, Trump, why would he need to testify in front of the Epstein deposition trial? And they're the same people that go, why does Tim Walz need to be questioned about the fraud? It's the same people on the same coin, just they're like, oh, I'm a solid Democrat. Oh, I'm a solid Republican. I don't understand why Tim Walz needs to be held to account for his state's fraud. Oh, I don't understand why Donald Trump needs to be interviewed about Epstein. He says he didn't know anything and the country needs to move on. You're the same person.
My questions this morning, my first go to Governor Walz, and I hope you learned some lessons from your last hearing with me on the Oversight Committee.
Hell yeah.
I did that if I didn't speak up, 2 of my people would be dead, Congresswoman. And I warned you.
Okay, Miss Governor Walz.
But the people would be dead.
What is a woman? Have you learned that lesson? Do you know what a woman is?
I'm the governor of Minnesota, Congresswoman.
Do you know what a woman
is?
Do you know what it is?
Okay. So if you can't define what a woman is, you certainly can't define what fraud is. If you can't even define what a woman is, you can't define fraud. How?
It's an adult human female with a reproductive system appropriate for said adult female. Appropriate for said adult female as in, like, the uterus. They have a period, they have the menstruate. Like, that's a female. Generally, not all. By the way, there are going to be some hermaphroditical figures, as in people that are born with, like, the chromosomal issues and whatnot. And there are going to be some people that live as men or women that, like, feel weird or don't feel fully identified. Guess what? Those are going to be the who's the guy from Rolling Stones? Keith Richards is. They're going to be the Freddie Mercurys. They're going to be the bisexuals of the world. That kind of, they're cultural figures. They define shit, but they're not going to be the majority of the populace. Is that a fair thing to say? That's a pretty accurate read on most of society.
How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Did you prepare for this hearing today?
I did. I take Congress seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today.
Yes.
Okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me.
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the
Okay,
head
so
of the
your excuse...
I was, but I'm not the... I wasn't the governor then. You can't hold me to account. Oh, but when I was governor, I wasn't the head of... Knock it off. I thought the buck stops with you.
You didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million was spent in 2024. What percent increase is that from 1 million to 343 million? What percentage increase is that?
I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell me.
Wait, are you governor of Minnesota or not?
Yes, I am. I'm
Okay,
not.
well,
I'm not a prop.
I'm not a prop. You can answer a question, though. This isn't a prop. This is you can answer a question. You goon.
You're South Carolina. You can share.
You're a public servant. You can serve the public, bitch.
Tell that I'm going to know the math. The math is 34,200% increase. An increase of 343 times what it was in this time period. Do you know the number of children in Minnesota?
I know that Minnesota ranked as a top 3 state for children.
Oh my God, shut up. That wasn't the question, you loser. And the reason that it ranks as the top 3 for children is because no matter what state your child is, and no matter what state, as in like what state your child is in, literally you could have a child in Indiana, you could apply to get them treatment as an autistic kid in Minnesota. It's so great that other kids from other states can get treatment in Minnesota.
The total population in Minnesota.
5.7 million.
Okay. What is the total population of children in Minnesota?
This should be
I don't
easy.
have the number in front of me right
Oh
now.
my
Governor
God.
of Minnesota?
I know 400,000 were cut out of health care last week. but
Oh my God, shut the fuck up, you loser. Shut the fuck up.
decisions you made.
Are you governor of Minnesota?
I am.
And you don't know the number of children
I
residing
don't
in
have the
Minnesota?
specific number. It's
It's
5.7 million.
That's your total
What is your
population.
age?
5.7 million is the population, you retard.
What is the age? 0 to 5? 0 to 19?
We have approximately 1.2 million children in Minnesota.
What
I'm not
age?
even governor of South Carolina. Our population in South Carolina is 5.5 million. We have approximately 1.1 million children under the age of 18 in my home state of South Carolina, okay? As governor, I expect you to know this information. Thank God you're not vice president of the United States. Do you know approximately how...
And I'm sorry, I'll put this in the description so you can watch the rest of it yourself, but I have to agree with her. I'm glad that he's not the vice president, even though I voted for him. I am grateful that he is not the vice president, because I don't want... Menards employee, well, you actually can't return this wood because actually it's balsa wood. And once you cut the balsa wood, actually it's store policy that you can't give it back. I'm not dealing with that for 4 years, and as a matter of fact, I'm not dealing with it, thankfully, with another administration, because he has thrown in the towel, giving it to Amy Klobuchar. Folks, let's go ahead and close this out with a clean debate, because I want to cover one more story, because that'll be it, and then we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun for the rest of the day. And then you can do whatever it is you do on a Wednesday, March 4th, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and cover this final story. The Tampa airport really struck a chord with a lot of, let's call it the most disgusting humans among us, like the less than human. Let's call it a Tampa airport today upset the less than human humans when they said, we're bringing a dress code, very basic dress code back, no pajama pants. And the most disgusting human beings that share this country with you, the most slovenly, vile ones, truly the ones that the Holocaust should have been reserved for, heard that, honestly, not ridiculous decry. They heard, oh, I'm not allowed, you're saying I can't wear pajama pants, I have to wear sweatpants? They heard this and they, proceeded to have a hissy fit on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this very clear. If you cannot be bothered to wear pants, like actual pants to the airport, like if I catch you showing up in pajama pants, in sweatpants, if you're the type to dress for the airport like you're going to bed, or like I have a long flight, so I want to be comfy, so I show up in slippers and I show up in my my plaid pajama set, you need to be escorted out by security, maybe shot in the parking lot as an example for other people. I think a dress code is the bare minimum, and the fact that so many people were angry at this. They were upset with the airport for having a dress code, these absolute animals, they'll give you the argument of, I paid $300 for this ticket, I deserve to take my shoes off. You sound like hobos. You sound absolutely This is disgusting. Play this clip.
Well, some use the airport as a fashion runway. I'm just a boy trying to bring style back to travel. For many others, comfort is king when it comes to flying.
Animals.
I'm wearing my sweatpants. Thank you very much.
Animals.
And now that wide range in travel wear, from sweatsuits to business suits, even pajama pants, is at the center of a reignited debate. Should there be rules around what people are allowed to wear to the airport?
I mean, I think it should just be appropriate. I don't want to see somebody half naked walking around.
The wardrobe dispute taking
Oh, by the way, it's so sad that is our standard these days. People go, as long as I don't see your tits. Really? We are this low as a society that our standard is, well, as long as their gut is within their shirt.
This now viral post from one of Florida's major airports.
We have seen enough and had enough.
Seen enough. It's time to ban pajamas at Tampa International Airport. The madness stops today.
Yes.
The movement starts now.
Yes.
Well, TPA tells us it was just a joke and another nod to Day of Travel fashion
Why?
debates. Last November,
Cowards.
the U.S. Department of Transportation actually launched a civility campaign calling for the return to a golden age of travel.
And I agree with them.
Secretary asking travelers to leave their PJs and slippers at home.
Straight up.
Encourage people to maybe dress a little better.
No PJs
Dress
for
nice.
this pup.
He's wearing his cashmere turtleneck sweater.
Or for retired airline employee Marcy Smith, who always wears her Sunday best.
Good for her.
There were rules that required you to be groomed and look nice every day, or you were sent home.
Good. Good. You need to look nice. And I'm sorry, people used to, by the way, dress up when they went out to the stores. People used to dress up when they went out to the Walmart. People used to dress up when they went out to, and not dress up as in people weren't expected to dress up like they were going out for the Queen. It was standard jeans, maybe like dress pants, or like a decent shirt, as in a shirt that wasn't stained. You know what I mean? A shirt that didn't have like a cartoon character on it. What I'm trying to say is that people, even though they weren't perfect back in the day, they dressed as though they wanted people to think something of them. Nowadays, we don't have that. Nowadays, we have the Euphoria class of kids who've been taught that if you dress sloppy, but you, whatever, if you just look like Zendaya, you'll look pretty. But most people don't look like Zendaya. Most people look 30 pounds overweight. Most people don't take care of themselves. Most people don't have the actor face to pull it off. Most people, when they look like shit, they look like shit. When Zendaya looks like shit, she looks good on camera. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just an important lesson that I want people to take. I'm tired of the slovenly losers decaying up our world with no class. I'm tired of going to Walmart and seeing people in their pajama pants. I understand if it's a Sunday and you were drinking last night, but this is Friday nights. I'm seeing people that are going around. There's straight up, I can't buy coconut oil at Walmart anymore because too many black kids were stealing it. This is not a racial thing. You don't see white kids stealing fucking cocoa oil. I'm being honest with you. What would they do with it? They try to light a fire with it or something. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of whatever day it is, because quite frankly, I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to see what sections have actually remained not behind a lock and key, see if the fruit section is behind one of those glass cases yet, and I'm going to, enjoy the rest of my Wednesday. I hope that you do the same. In the meantime, this has been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening. We'll have more for you with the rest of the week. News stories are continuing to pour out as they always do, so we're just going to do what we do here. Cover them as they go. Thursday, Friday, we got the rest of this week. Then we got next week. Subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications, like if you liked it. In the meantime, this has been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening, and bye-bye.